Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Notre Dame Primetime Live at the Voice of College Football, presented by FanDuel. We are back for another episode. I am your host, Ryan Favreau, with my co-host, Sean, a.k.a. ND Forever on X. So we're back for another episode, the national championship game. The final game of the college football season happened this past, Monday? A national champion was crowned, and unfortunately, the Lil Bro Indiana Hoosiers from Bloomington. So yeah, that was something. We got a lot to get into tonight. Other than that, though, Notre Dame closed out the number one recruiting class overall in the class of 2026 with what they did in the portal, landing one more commitment. After our last show that we'll get into and talk about as the class as a whole, what impact that'll have. We'll also talk about Marcus Freeman, how he did on game day. He was on game day doing coverage for the national championship. Seemed a little too comfortable for me doing a TV job. I think he's got a future in that whenever he does decide to hang up his coaching clipboard. And then we'll be, it is the NFL. It is the NFL playoff season still. We got the AFC and NFC championship game this weekend. We'll be giving our picks for those games as well. So a lot to get into. But Sean, I know feels like it's been a long week. Not a lot of Notre Dame news really. But how have you been?
A little later. Good. I mean, we usually do Tuesdays, so we moved it to Thursday this week. I was happy with Indiana winning. Oh, Lil Bro, blah, 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 but way better than Miami winning. And I'm sorry, regardless of how you feel about Indiana, like for me, it's just like that's probably the biggest Cinderella story of all time. I mean, I don't think you can get more Cinderella than that. I mean, yeah, they were the 1 seed, but a team that was the losingest team in the history of the sport all of a sudden makes the playoffs instantly, and then the next year wins it all with 3 stars, with a few transfers. You don't get more Cinderella than that. Like, the worst team of all time just won a natty. Like, how do you not enjoy that? Like, I feel like you hate the sport if you're not like, wow, that's cool. You could hate Indiana, but still think it's pretty cool to see,
It's cool for the sport. It's cool for the 10 Indiana fans that existed prior to 2024 that actually knew that Indiana played football and not basketball. It's cool for them. I'm happy for those people. I'm not happy for Signetti. I'm not happy for the Indiana fans that showed up in Miami for that national championship game, because I guarantee you more than half of those people have Notre Dame gear, have been a Notre Dame fan, have worn Notre Dame jerseys, have been to Notre Dame football games, and switched their fandom because Indiana just happened to be as good as they are. Again, I'm happy I'm happy for the Indiana football team themselves. Like those guys that played
and Pat Coogan.
Pat Coogan, first 16-0 team in college football history. They're one of the best teams in college football history. I won't go as far as
one of the best seasons in college football.
I won't go as far as to say, like, I've seen people say they're the greatest team. They're not even close.
I hate the argument of greatest team. I can agree with best season, but not best team. But
they're not. I don't think they're
Signetti, like, how? Like, it's so impressive. Like, how good are you? What are you doing? Like, how good do you have to be to do this everywhere you go and do it this good. Like, how good are you? As much if you like him or not, like, you have to sit here and think, like, how are you this good? Right?
It's impressive. But I also think
Jinx.
I think a lot lined up for them. By the way, Sean, you are cutting in and out a little bit, but I think it is very impressive. You took a bunch of James Madison guys and a bunch of 3 stars, and you took them to a 16-0 season, won a natty. I do think it's also one of those things, and again, I felt this way all year. I don't think Indiana had the toughest schedule in the world. I mean, I believe they had a worse strength of schedule than Notre Dame did, and everybody shit on our schedule. I don't think they necessarily had like Ohio State this year. They were not anywhere close to the team they were the year before. That's not Indiana's fault, but it just happened to play out that way. Oregon, I don't believe was as good as they were the year before either. I don't think this playoff this year. Again, it's not Indiana's fault. I don't think the playoff this year was as good as it was last year. I think Notre Dame, 2024 Notre Dame was a lot better than the teams that played in the semifinals. I think 2024 Ohio State was better than any of those teams. I think you could argue that even Penn State, with the issues they had last year, I think they could probably give this Miami and Indiana team a run for their money.
I would say with Indiana, the one the whole entire playoffs, they didn't trail once. So, like, regardless of opinion, it's like they didn't trail once in the whole playoffs.
That's very impressive. I'm just saying I don't think it was. I think everything lined up for them. You have to have luck. Every championship team in any sport you've ever watched, they've had lucky moments. They've had things that just happened to break their way that year, and it laid out perfectly. I think this year was perfect. You had a team that had an average age of 23 years old, which is only 2 years younger than the Green Bay Packers. So you basically had an NFL roster with a bunch of 23-year-olds, right? You had a lot of fifth-year guys from James Madison that had been in the system, you already had that foundation built with Signetti, so you didn't have to bring in a bunch of new guys that didn't understand it, right? You didn't have that tough of a schedule in the regular season that really hurt you. I mean, their hardest games this year were in the regular season was Oregon, which again I still think Oregon. I don't think Oregon was that great. Oregon had a pretty easy schedule this year. We saw what happened when they played again in the playoff. Again, and I'm not saying this is Indiana's fault. I'm just saying I don't think that it was. When we're getting into the debate of greatest team, I will give you the greatest season because we've never seen a 16-0 team. But greatest team to me is 2019 LSU. That team, 2019 LSU, didn't play as many games, but they played 2 more ranked teams. They still hold the record for the most ranked wins at a national championship undefeated season. And they blew everybody out that they played, including Trevor.
Didn't Notre Dame have more ranked wins last year than that LSU team did have? I mean, we had more games.
We had 5. We played 5 ranked teams last year.
The whole year, including playoffs.
Yes. I think because you only had Army.
No, Navy was ranked 2 that year. I'm pretty sure we had 8 last year. Because we beat A&M.
Well, the record's LSU. That's what they brought up on Sports Center.
I will say, I think for a national champion, that's the record. But I will say my reaction to Indiana winning is there's no excuses now. I mean, if Indiana can win a national championship, Notre Dame should be able to win a national championship.
Well, that's what I think makes this season so frustrating. I'm watching the national championship, and I'm seeing Mark Fletcher bust a 60-yard touchdown run against Indiana. And I'm sitting there going, Jeremiah Love could do that. I think, It's frustrating because I feel like Notre Dame missed an opportunity this year. They legitimately, in my opinion, could have won it all. And that's what makes it frustrating. That's why I didn't want to watch the playoffs. I've only watched 2 playoff games all year, Indiana, Oregon, and the national championship, because even keeping up on the scores of those games just pissed me off because it made me feel like we just wasted a golden opportunity for Notre Dame to win the national championship because I do feel like it was that wide open. Like I said, and it's not doesn't just go for Indiana, it goes for Miami too. I think Miami benefited from a weaker playoff field than what we've typically seen. I think Miami benefited from a weak schedule. Miami benefited from catching Notre Dame when they did. That was the only reason they were in the playoff was that Notre Dame.
I do wonder if next year's playoff is going to be harder. I don't know if it will be, but I think it should be.
I think it will be because I think Ohio State will be better. That's Julian saying in his second year. Jeremiah Smith's coming back. I think Texas will be much improved. I think Oregon will be much improved with another year with Dante Moore in the system. Notre Dame with CJ Carr. He's the Heisman favorite right now. What they're bringing in with the recruiting class. I think next year has the potential to be the hardest 12-team playoff we've seen. Because I think everybody's going to massively improve.
Listen, I'm upset too because I think we could have / would have should have beaten half the teams, more than half the teams in the playoffs. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and say that we would have won because who's Jeff G?
I don't know. He reposted the stream. Appreciate you, Jeff, for reposting. If you guys are watching on Twitter, by the way, you can comment and we will see it. But yeah, no.
But I'm not going to say we would have won. I think we would have made the semifinals. My prediction for the whole year was to not. I didn't think we'd make the Natty back-to-back years.
Yeah.
But it sucks that we didn't have the opportunity. Now we did start 0-2. And yes, I can complain how it went down. But I at the end of the day, you did lose 2 games, right? Even though how close they were, you lost the team in the Natty by 3 points and a playoff team by 1, and it hurts. And we shouldn't have lost those games, or at least one of them. But I think we would have. I think we were one of the few teams that could beat Indiana. I've said that forever, but Indiana deserved it. I still have the belief we'll see, as long as Freeman's head coach, we'll see it. I think I am a little nervous for next year. It's going to be a really tough year, not schedule-wise, but playoff-wise. I just hope that this team hangs on to this. Mm-hmm. I hope, because I think we go undefeated next year. I hope we
should.
I hope we don't lose what happened this year because of that.
Yeah. Speaking of that, by the way, that takes us, that kind of is a great transition to our next topic. I guess we'll talk about the portal stuff here in a bit. But speaking of keeping the pain.
Congrats, Indiana.
Yeah, congrats, Indiana. But speaking of keeping the pain, Freeman was actually on College Game Day and was on the coverage for the national championship game, I believe for the entire game, which did a fantastic job. But, that he wasn't going to go on there and not be asked about his thoughts on and his team's mentality on the playoff snub. But here, real quick, we'll play a soundbite. Is Marcus Freeman on his team's mindset being left out of the playoff?
First, when you find out, you're disappointed, right? Because you get in front of your team and you don't have the answers for why, right? And this was never a situation where we deserved to be in the playoffs in front of Miami or Alabama or anything like that. This was, okay, the rankings has shown if we continue to win in the fashion we're winning, it looks like we're going to make the playoffs, and we didn't. And so the day we found out, the response was one thing, but after 24 hours, the ability to get in front of your team and say, you know what, we have to move forward. And I remember our first team meeting we just had for 2026. My message was, it's up to us to leave no doubt. We left doubt. We lost by 4 or 5 points the first 2 games. We left out. It's our job to make sure we
I just want to hold on a second.
I like he's still campaigning while also.
No, I don't think he's campaigning. That's a great approach.
Agreed. Yeah, we're going to move forward.
Getting left out.
First.
Yeah. That was Freeman on his thoughts and his team's thoughts of missing the playoff. Sean, when you heard that, what was your thoughts hearing Freeman say that on TV?
Anything Marcus Freeman says, I want to run through a brick wall. So, I mean, it saddened me thinking about, what could have been, but then it also made me like, I trust him to lead us for next year, and I think it's the perfect way to go into this season. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's kind of it's one of those things that Freeman says, right? He has those kind of tagline quotes like violence, leave keep the pain with the NIU, and then immediately after finding out that your team's been left out of the playoff, right? You hear that, and it's one of those taglines, and I think it's a rallying thing for this team. You saw multiple Notre Dame players, like Madden Faremo posted on Instagram immediately after, LND, leave no doubt. And now you're starting to see that become kind of the rallying cry for this team going into 2026. I think it's great, right? I do think that Freeman probably does feel like this team, even with those 2 losses, even with you leaving doubt, should have been in the playoff. He's not going to go on national TV and say that, right? Because I think it's been a month, done, over with, move on to next year. But I think giving his team, saying, leave no doubt. We lost 2 games. We left it in someone else's hands. We left doubt that we deserve to be there. Next year, we can't do that. We need to handle business, win those games, and that way we leave no doubt. There's no way for them to keep us out. Notre Dame goes 12-0, they're never leaving you out, right? You go 11-1, they're never leaving you out. So, yeah, I think it's great. I think it's a good rallying cry for the team going into next year. It makes me more excited and hyped for next season. I think next season, if I'm not saying natty or bust, right? Because I think that's too stringent too permanent of a term, I guess, so to speak. But if Notre Dame was going to win a national championship, this would be the perfect year to do it. I think your schedule sets up for it. It's not that hard. Your hardest game is Miami, and then you got BYU and SMU are kind of like the next tier, right? I said this in the group chat. Notre Dame realistically should go 12-0 next year. The only game that
you want them to.
I do. The only game they should, not should, but the only game I think that they possibly could lose next year on paper is Miami, right? Especially if Miami gets Darian Mensah. They already got the edge from Damon Wilson from Mizzou, right? They're reloading. Outside of that game, you should handle business. If you have a slow start, like we've seen Marcus Freeman do, where you lose to a team you have no business losing to this year, like an NIU, then we have serious problems because I think you have the team, you have the roster, you have the portal, you have the recruiting class coming in, you have the schedule. Everything sets up, just like I just talked about with Indiana, right? Where all the stars aligned for them to make that run to a national championship. I think this year, it's still early, but you're seeing those stars sort of align to see a path for Notre Dame to win it.
The stars align to make the playoffs. I don't know about to win it. We got to see the play. I mean, I agree. Mm-hmm. This is the year to win it, especially because this is likely CJ Carr's last year. Yep. I think it'd be wise. My honest opinion, next year's quarterback class is going to be the most loaded it's been in years. I think it would be smart for Carr to come back another year and be the for sure number 1. However, we'll see what he does. I mean, you really want to go up against Dante Moore, how he played, we project Arch Manning to be better. So Arch Manning, Dante Moore, Sellers, if he does good. There's a lot of quarterbacks next year that it's just going to be a deep class. Like, why make yourself pick 10? We can come back, continue a mission, and be like a top 5 pick. So, but I project Carr to be gone. It's just the year. I mean, I thought it was this year. I still have the belief that this team is the best Notre Dame team we've had in our lifetime. And that's why it's so upsetting, because I'm nervous next year because our team's going to respect the run as much without Jeremiah Love.
Do you not have as much faith? Do you not have as much faith in Aeneas Williams?
I'm not an Aeneas Williams guy. I view him as a third down back. I don't view him as a bell cow. So I am nervous about the running back room. No, not room. I think it's loaded. I think it's talented.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a drop-off because you're not going to replace Jeremiah Love. You're just not.
But realistically, what's the worst running back? And this is not saying any of them were bad, because all of them were good for college running backs, right? In the last 20 years, who's the worst Notre Dame running back that started? What, like Tony Jones? Like, that's one position that Notre Dame was in.
Armstrong.
Did he start?
Yeah, he was our starter at some points because injuries.
Okay, yeah, so Jafar Armstrong. But, like, I think Aeneas Williams is better than a Jafar Armstrong.
Yeah, I just don't. The thing I do have faith about with this room is they got to learn from Price and Love.
Yeah.
You got to learn from them. So I've seen enough of Williams to be like, this kid has something. I just don't. For me, it's like this running back room is so good this year that you have to respect the run. You have to. And then CJ Carr can lift up. Our team's going to respect our run game as much next year. Oh, just is Williams enough to be a Jadarian Price and get those angles, break through those tackles? Kedron Young might be, but the injury.
But then to me, right, here's how I look at it. I have faith in Aeneas. I'm high on Aeneas, right? I think he's going to be a great back. Kedron, I'm very high on as well, just as pure talent. But the injury is worrisome. But even then, I still have confidence in Coach Sider. Everywhere he's been, right? He likes to play and start young guys. He found Nicholas Singleton. He found Katron Allen. He gave Katron Allen true freshman snaps when they already had Nicholas Singleton, who was a Big Ten All-American, right? You got Javian Osborne and Jonas Walton coming in. You have Nolan James, who's already been in the system for a year.
Do you like Nolan?
I like Nolan James a lot. Yeah, I like Nolan James a lot. I think it's one of those things where, like, I trust Coach Sider. If he believes that Aeneas Williams and Kedron are the go-to guys, he's going to play them. If he doesn't think they are, he's going to have he's not going to care. He's going to play Javian Osborne. He's going to play Jonas Walton because he's done it. He's done it everywhere. Penn State had a 5-star running back.
Is Walton? Yeah, they're going to play him, but is that good enough to win the next?
I think it's talented enough. Yeah. Indiana didn't have like a crazy good running back. Like their running back wasn't, in my opinion, wasn't a top 10 back.
But when you have that, I just think like if it was Jeremiah Love next year, I think it would be like there's no way we shouldn't win versus could win. Yep. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Williams, I don't know what it is. He's talented, I like him. Maybe it'll take the spring game or one game to see, but I just don't know if I see him as an alpha. I think I've always felt of him as the change of pace Price. Well, Price to me could be an alpha, but I've always seen him to have that Price role. So
Do you not?
you
Do you not
disagree? You think he can be that alpha?
Yeah, I think he can. Do you not? Do you not think that if Freeman and the staff didn't have confidence in Aeneas, that they would have brought in a transfer portal running back? You had Justice Haynes
I trust
there.
the staff. I trust the
Yeah,
staff.
that's what I'm saying. That's my thing. If they had concerns about Aeneas, there were already rumors that if he wasn't going to start this year, he was going to enter the portal. If they felt like, hey, we don't think you're the A guy, then why wouldn't you go get Hollywood Smothers? Why wouldn't you go get Justice Haynes? Why wouldn't you go get the other top backs that are in the portal? That would be my thing. It's like you must feel pretty confident in what you have to not do that, right? Because I know I think you were the one that was like, yeah, I'll take Hollywood Smothers.
I would.
And I don't necessarily think Hollywood Smothers is all that great. Like I don't think he's worth the money that he's getting. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean it's interesting.
So you're not nervous at all with the running back room at all?
No.
I'm not nervous about the room because I think it's one of the most talented rooms we've had. I'm just nervous about the experience and how those guys are going to fit together, right? I think it's going to be a situation where, remember when it was a 3-back room when Love was a freshman and he got like 400 yards as a freshman?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a situation where we see Williams Young and either a James or like it was last year with Riley, because Aeneas played a lot more the year before. So
yeah,
I think it's going to be a 3-back room.
Well, the thing is, Sider he likes to only play 2 backs. So it's not like what it was with Dylan McCullough where he would play 5 backs in a game and rotate. But it's interesting. But yeah, I'm not as worried about the running back room, I think, in the next year.
The D-line room we were so nervous about, but
yeah. Hold that thought, actually. Before we do that, we'll get into that here in a second. But people, it is AFC NFC Championship weekend this weekend. So we're gonna do our parlay of the week. We'll be picking the NFC and AFC Championship game between the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos, the Los Angeles Rams, and the Seattle Seahawks. My Denver Broncos. We'll pick that game last, but Sean, first game, right? The Los Angeles Rams versus Seattle Seahawks. 2 divisional opponents for you as an Arizona Cardinals fan. According to our friends over at FanDuel, Seattle is a 2.5-point favorite at home. How do you feel about this one playing out?
Seattle's a lot better than I thought they would. I thought both 1 seeds were the most overrated 1 seeds that we had in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And they proved me wrong. Seattle looks a lot better. I don't know if I trusted Sam Darnold, and I definitely didn't trust Bo Nix, but they won those games. I thought my prediction for a Super Bowl was Rams-Bills entering the playoffs. So, by the way, that was an interception. I'm going, and I love Josh Allen. He's a great football story, probably favorite player in the NFL. Amazing. Wish he would have won.
Yeah.
But here we are, especially after the Knicks injury. But I'm going to pick the Rams outright.
You're going to take the money line for the Rams.
Yep. I think the Rams win. They've been my prediction all postseason. I'm not changing that. I'm going to trust the guy who's going to probably win the MVP over Sam Darnold. I think of it on this aspect. Both have solid defenses. Seattle probably more so than the Rams, but it's close enough. And who do you trust more, Sam Darnold or Stafford? Kyron and Corum or Charbonnet's out. So Kenneth Walker. I probably like the Rams running back room better. And then Nakua and Devontae Adams or JSN and Cup. JSN's had the best season in the bunch, but I'll probably pick the Rams wide receiver room and the Rams tight ends. And I just think the Rams are a better team. The home field advantage helps Seattle a lot. So it's going to be close, but I'm going to pick the Rams. And then I don't think. Are you picking your this game?
We'll do this. Give my picks for this as well, and then we'll move on to the Broncos Patriots. So this is tough for me. The Seahawks and Rams have played already twice this year. I believe the Seahawks have won both. This one being at Seattle at Lumen Field. I'll be honest. The Rams to me did not look all that great against the Bears last weekend. I really thought the Bears probably should have won that game. I think the Bears were the better team. Ben Johnson, DJ Moore should be cut or traded immediately for half-assing that route. I think the Seahawks are a better team. If it were me, I would take the Seahawks minus 2.5 because I think they're going to win by at least a field goal. But since you already took the money line, I'll go ahead and do the over-under on this. I think it's going to hit the over, mainly because of how bad the Rams' defense has been. They gave up all those points against Carolina. We saw what happened in this game just a month ago, right? And being in Seattle, I think Seattle's going to put up points. They just put 41 up last weekend. So that's where I'm going. Now, the AFC Championship, the New England Patriots go to Mile High to face the Denver Broncos, my Denver Broncos, the Bo Nix-less Broncos. Sean, how are you feeling about this one?
This is the easiest playoff pick of all time. The Patriots are going to win this game. I'm sorry. I am not going to trust Jared Stidham. I think that I think it's a 99.9% chance that the Broncos lose this game. New England's winning this game. It might be close because of defense, of how good the Broncos defense are. They're going to have to rely on the run game, the home field advantage. I hope it's close. I'm going to ask you this question, but I just don't think there's a chance. But now my question to you is this. It's a little different to the Nick Foles situation, but since you're a Broncos fan, I'll bring this up. Wentz was hurt pretty much the whole time. Does this count because, A, you wouldn't have been here without him and he brought you to the AFC Championship? Obviously, Stidham would win the Super Bowl, but if the Broncos win the Super Bowl, would this count as a Super Bowl for Bo Nix?
Stats-wise, no. But as a Broncos fan, I think it would because he's the reason.
So if he retired with 2 Super Bowls and was up for a Hall of Fame, won't happen. But if would this count towards his legacy? Because it's like technically he'd have the ring, and he led the team to the AFC Championship. Like would that?
I think it would. I think it would because look at who he had to beat and who he had to outduel in just his second season in the NFL. Josh Allen, right? Nobody was picking the Broncos to win that football game. People said it was going to, like you said, you picked the Bills to make it all the way to Super Bowl because the whole thought process was Josh couldn't do it when he faced Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar. Those guys aren't in here. He's going to face Bo Nix, CJ Stroud. Right? Yeah, he's going to go all the way. Bo Nix outplayed him. Bo Nix didn't have 4 turnovers. And again, yes, that was an interception, Bills fans. So yeah, I do think it's because of who he had to beat. He had to beat arguably. No, he's the second best quarterback in the NFL behind Mahomes, right? And Bo Nix had to do that. He beat Mahomes when Mahomes was still healthy and the Chiefs were still alive for the playoffs.
The second best quarterback?
No. I'm saying Nix beat the second best quarterback in the playoffs to get to the AFC Championship.
Yeah,
he outplayed him. Right. That's why I think it would still count. But all right, so in this game, you said you're taking the Patriots. Are you taking the -4.5, or are you taking just the straight money line?
What's more?
The 4.5 gets you more money.
Yeah, 4.5. They'll win by probably 2 scores minimum.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Obviously, I'm going the other way. I think the Broncos win this game. I think Stidham, people are acting like he's hot dog shit.
Revenge game.
I think the storyline with that, yeah, this is the team that drafted him. But I think he's got look at all the coaches that have vouched for him and wanted him. Bill Belichick drafted him to be Tom Brady's backup. Saw something in him. Josh McDaniels, who's doing wonders right now with Drake May, wanted to actually trade for him this past offseason. Right? That's Josh McDaniels. Right? Sean Payton vouched for him. Sean Payton made him one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid backup in the NFL. You don't do that if it's a guy that you think is just dog doo-doo. Right? I think this is one of those things where I think he doesn't have to do a lot. Right? Bo Nix wasn't outside a game against Buffalo where he had to do that because Josh Allen is Josh Allen, right? I think here we go. We got Ben in here.
Man, thanks for telling me the show was happening this week, Ryan. I thought we weren't doing it.
No, I thought I put it in the group chat. My bad.
You're good.
No,
I'll hop in for a little bit just because I saw the betting segment was going on.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm our addiction analyst here.
Okay. You're good. But yeah, I think the Broncos win. I think it's going to be another tight game. I think it's going to be a defensive slugfest, especially with the offensive line issues with the New England Patriots have had. And that's literally the Broncos' whole identity on defense. So I think it's going to be the slugfest, and I don't think Stidham has to do that much. It's at home. It's at Mile High. I think that makes the difference. I'm going to take the under on it because I think it's going to be a slugfest of a game. And I'm taking if it was up to me, I'm taking the Broncos money line because I think they get it done.
With my bet or combination here, if you bet $10, $15, what would you get?
$10 gets you 109. So you 10 times your money, basically.
For free.
For free, yeah. All right, our betting analyst, Ben, is here. Ben, if you're doing a parlay for this, what is your parlay for NFL Championship weekend?
The parlay is simple. Patriots minus 13.5. And over on the points in the Seahawks-Rams game.
Okay. Over. And then how do you let me see.
Click on the game, Fravel.
Yeah, click on the game.
It's gotta give you an option for alt spread if you move down. Keep going down. It's gotta say alt spread.
Okay.
Well,
I don't know if it's gotta let you take 13.5.
You can just control F this too.
Yes.
Control F. What do you mean? I'm not the greatest with this.
So hit Control F on your keyboard.
Okay.
There it is, right there. Alternate spread.
There you go. Alternate spread. There you go.
So that's not how Control F works, by the way. But
if you hold down Control and you hit F.
All right, 13.5.
Yep, 13.5. Throw $10 on that, free $200 for you guys. I am undefeated on my picks this year. So
202. Yeah, that's
Didn't you pick Miami?
I picked Miami to cover the spread, which they did.
They did.
What was the spread?
Yeah. Like 8, wasn't it?
It was 8.5. I told you guys this is due, and guess what happened? They barely covered. I actually did think they were going to win once they got the ball back.
I think this is just
Indiana was going to win by more. That false start penalty, I got a little frustrated because I was like, so you're allowing Miami to hit these, and then the unnecessary roughness. So I was like, so Miami can hit Mendoza 10 times, 5 seconds late, but a D lineman for Indiana hits Beck 1 second late, and you're throwing the flag. I was like, okay, here we go.
Well, I think the problem is that Mendoza's used as a runner. They run the RPOs a little bit. They run a little pass option with him. You have to see Mendoza as a runner. You don't see Beck as a runner. Even though he did run in a touchdown in the Ole Miss game, he's not being used like Mendoza is in the run game. So you have to give the linebacker a little credit there. He's assuming that Mendoza is about to get the ball and he's playing it correctly. Like if Mendoza has the ball there, that's a good clean hit. But
I do think it's a little disrespectful. You guys are being a little disrespectful to Stiddy, but I think 2 scores is kind of
He's going to be
outrageous.
working at the car dealership here in a year
Hey,
after this game.
Man, Nick Foles did it.
You talking, Travel?
I am.
Not Nick Foles. Nick Foles was a former, second, third round pick. Stidham's a former, sixth round pick?
Fourth round pick.
For Foles?
No, Stidham was a 4th round pick.
Oh, well, we'll see.
Am I the only one that can't hear Fravel?
Can you not hear me?
I can hear him.
No, I think it's just you.
Let me close out. I'll hop right back in for a minute before we go do stuff. So 1 second.
All right. But yeah,
And
I
that
think
was
it's
Ben.
That was Ben. Yeah. Some of the new backs on special teams. Okay. Why don't we use some of the new backs on special teams? I'm about Osborne and Walton. I don't think Walton is really. I think Osborne, if you're going to use one of them on special teams, Osborne would be the one. He's more of the shifty speed
Did
back.
we get a really good return from the portal?
No. We were trying to get Xavier Townsend from Iowa State, but he ended up at Purdue. Yeah. But I believe that was because Notre Dame didn't really push for him. So, you know what? And honestly, with how freakish of an athlete Mylan Graham is, I wouldn't be surprised if we put Mylan Graham on kickoffs and punts because he's got the speed.
Faison will be one of the two.
Faison too.
What were we talking about?
Before you couldn't hear me, I was saying that the disrespect to Stiddy is crazy.
I really do hope Sim as well, because then I can keep pushing my narrative that Bo Nix is a system
Do we
quarterback.
want a Sam Darnold? Do we want a Sam Darnold Stidham Super Bowl?
Yes.
No, we want Drake May, Matthew Stafford Super Bowl guys. That's
what dude. But here's the thing, right? So
we're getting a rematch no matter what.
In our Broncos group chat, I had one of my buddies put in there. He's like, it's a win-win situation. Either we win the game with a backup quarterback and we go to the Super Bowl, or we lose because Jarrett Stidham is terrible, and then everybody with the Bo Nix narratives being a system quarterback and that he got carried by the defense. And I mean, like those people can, go suck ones, right? So,
it could be both.
I think realistically, I think it's a win-lose situation because you either don't go to the Super Bowl or you do.
Well, think about it on the aspect.
This isn't the regular season.
Stidham sucks. Bo Nix is not a system quarterback, but it's Jarrett Stidham. It's not like the backup is like. That's not a good Bo Nix is better, than Jarrett Stidham. No shit.
Well, Bo Nix is okay. We gotta stop we're gonna move on from this. But
I'll never draft Bo Nix in fantasy ever again.
Bo Nix is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He just
if 8 of the top 10 died, he'd be a top 10 quarterback.
Bo Nix.
I had people tell me C.J. Stroud was better than him.
Might be top 15.
C.J. Stroud realistically has had the biggest fall off out of any quarterback, so I could see where people had points with it, believing that.
You ready? I'm going to name 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now better than Bo Nix.
And I'll tell you if he beat him or not.
Josh Allen.
Fravel, but Fravel, you can't say that because Bo Nix has nothing to do with why they beat teams.
What do you mean? He was the reason we beat the Bills.
Bo Nix does not play. Does he play safety, linebacker, defensive end, or anything like that?
Well, none of these other quarterbacks do.
But
okay,
they don't have the number one defense in the NFL.
Or not, I want you to tell me if he's better than this guy. Josh Allen.
No.
Patrick Mahomes.
No.
Lamar Jackson.
No.
Justin Herbert.
No.
Matthew Stafford.
No.
Aaron Rodgers.
Now, yes.
Okay, now yes, fine. I need give me some quarterbacks, Ben.
Jalen Hurts,
Stroud.
Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, Trevor Lawrence. He's not better than Trevor Lawrence.
I think him and Trevor Lawrence are
no, they're not even comparable, dude.
Is he better than Caleb Williams?
Yeah.
No, bro.
Dude, we're not giving him credit for his performance against the Bills, man. That's just
Is he better than Jaden Daniels?
Wait. Can we point out that Bo Nix threw an interception directly into a defensive tackle's hands?
Is he better than Jaden Daniels?
Josh Allen is the number 2 quarterback of the NFL and threw a pick directly to our safety.
Here's 10 quarterbacks.
Throwing a pick. Wait. Okay, no. First of all, throwing a pick to a safety who's playing hedge coverage and was able to read the play is completely different than throwing a pick to a 365 6'7" guy.
So okay,
hey Ben, this is for Ben. Hold on. Say yes or no to this. Josh Allen.
Yes.
Lamar.
Yes.
Mahomes.
Yes.
Stafford.
Yes.
Herbert.
This year, yes, but if I were to say, do I want Stafford for the next 5 years? Obviously, no.
All time, though, too.
Oh,
okay,
all
Herbert.
time. Okay, Herbert.
Yes. Oh, this is all time. Jesus.
No, currently he's still better, but Herbert.
Well, that's not fair. Bo Nix only played 2 years.
But we're saying currently. We're saying obviously all time Stafford, but currently Stafford. Like,
so
if
Herbert,
tomorrow,
yes.
I need
Trevor
a quarterback
Lawrence.
to line up.
Trevor Lawrence.
Not injured. Trevor Lawrence, yes.
Drake May.
Yes.
Jaden Daniels.
See, that's the thing.
Oh,
yes.
God.
Yes, purely I'm going to assume that injuries are not, like, for example, Mahomes doesn't have a torn ACL. I will say yes because of that.
Caleb Williams.
Yes.
This is crazy.
Even though he paints his nails.
And that's 9. Give me one more.
Daniel Jones.
Oh, well, bro.
Bo Nix was never an MVP front runner.
You know what's crazy?
Season.
This is going to bother me because if he didn't break his fucking ankle, he could have won a Super Bowl and people would still be shitting on him.
Bro. When Bo Nix plays top 5 defenses, he struggles. This has been proven time and time.
You told me that he wasn't going to beat Josh Allen.
Oh, Baker Mayfield.
I'm not gonna lie. Baker Mayfield's an idiot. I give Bo Nix over Baker Mayfield.
Wow, I would pick Baker over.
Wait a minute, Ben. You did tell me that we were losing to the Bills though because of Josh Allen.
Yeah, and you should have lost to the Bills. But the NFL wants to change their catch rule every 4.5 weeks.
Well, they actually broke that down. He wasn't a runner.
He was a runner. If you fully catch the football and you were down on the field, his knee was down. That's a catch.
He has to make a football play.
And the same thing happened 4.5 weeks ago in the Patriots Bills game. Brandon Cook, the same exact player, made the same exact play. And guess what they called it? They called it a catch.
It's an interception.
No, it's a catch.
I do think that was a pick based off the angle I saw on social media.
I'm saying
it was all in one motion.
Every ruling that we've had in those situations that has ruled a catch.
However, was that a Devontae Adams pick the next night for the Rams?
And Devontae, that was a pick the next night. They called it a catch.
So Rich Eisen broke this down. And by the letter of the law and the rule in the rule book, Brandon Cooks was not a runner. He was in the process of catching the ball.
In the rule of the rule book, there's a hold every single play. There's a fucking illegal shift every single play.
So, but I'm just saying, based off of the rule book, you have to go off
of what you've been calling the whole entire season.
I think that's a pick. You gotta don't.
That's not a pick because they haven't called. No. If you want to say next year, those are officially now interceptions. That's fine. But the whole entire season, the Patriots lost to the Bills because of that play.
Okay, but then Ben, if you're looking at
a fluid pick.
Ben, if you're looking at that,
Sunday night lost because of that play.
Ben, if you're looking at it though from this point of view, if Jaquan McMillan is not there and that ball pops out,
it's down though. If Jaquan McMillan,
it's an incompletion.
But he's not down though. He's not down if Jaquan.
If he catches the ball, falls to the ground, and it pops out.
He is not
I think Ryan,
you're not getting the point here. Once a player fully possesses the ball and is down, his knee was down, his full body was down.
When he was down,
being touched,
the ball was in.
He didn't survive the ground.
But Fravel, you keep trying to repeat the same shit, but you're not hearing me. It does not matter because at the end of the day, he had the ball in his hands. He was down. In other situations this year, they have ruled that a catch. That's my whole point. If you're going to rule the catch in every other situation, that is a catch right there. And this is the whole problem with the NFL is that the NFL does not hold the referees accountable. I'm fully okay if that's getting ruled an interception. If the one by the Patriots 4.5 weeks ago was an interception, if the one the next night was an interception, I'm completely fine with that. But that's not what they were doing.
It shouldn't be.
I think
what they're going to do is in 3 weeks when they have this NFL rule, well, not 3, it's like a month and a half. when they have the NFL rules shit, they're gonna fucking argue about it, and then they're probably gonna decide that's a
It
catch.
shouldn't
I
be an
think what is it?
argument.
Yep, go
It
ahead.
shouldn't be an
Go ahead.
argument whether it was a catch or a pick. It should be an argument of how inconsistent refs are. Right.
Yeah, that's my point. I'm just
what
saying.
the argument should be.
I'm saying if you're an NFL coach and you're an NFL player, if you're an NFL sports bettor, you're going off of what you've seen all year. You don't go off of what you see exactly at the time. That's
I
my
just
problem.
don't agree with Bills fans saying that they only lost because of the refs, because that play shouldn't have even happened because they got away with a blatant holding in the end zone.
But at the end
that
of the
would have
day,
ended the game.
you get away with a blatant holding every single drive at least once.
Well, that one was like they had two guys choking out DJ Jones.
I do think, and
I
Ryan,
don't agree.
I'll defend Ryan. I do think that as he was going to the ground, before he hit the ground, the ball was in the Broncos guy's hand. If he was down and then it went in the Broncos guy's hands, he's down. It's a catch.
But that's the thing. He had the ball and he was down.
Before he was
They're
down.
trying to say that the Broncos player ripped the ball out, but you could obviously see his knee down on the ground and him having the ball in. That's the problem. And that's what happened, like I said a few weeks ago in the Patriots game.
I think the problem is, and Ben, here's the thing. I think if you're watching the play live, right, my first thought was, when I saw it live, was, oh shit, Jaquan McMillan just ripped it out of his arms as they were both falling to the ground. Then you see the still shots that people do where he's got the knee down and the ball. Jaquan McMillan still got a hand on the ball. It's like a split second before McMillan rips it out. And it's just as Cook's knee hits the ground. My problem, my thing is, people are using those screenshots instead of looking at the actual play.
But Fravel, they still reviewed it.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying, like, Jaquan McMillan is actively ripping the ball away as soon as his knee hits the ground. And I think if it's like any other catch player, if there's not a defender there, we've seen guys catch the ball and it rolls around and it then pops out. That's not a catch, incomplete, because you have to survive the ground. I'm looking at it through that same lens. If that ball just pops out,
wait,
like if
so
Jaquan
Ryan,
McMillan,
you think he was down?
No, I'm saying
he was on the ground with the ball.
Like if Jaquan McMillan, right, as that same thing happens, say McMillan rips it out and you see the ball squirt out and it's not an interception, they're calling that incomplete because they would say that Cooks didn't survive the ground and it's an incomplete pass. So
did he have the ball on the ground is my question.
Yes,
there was like a split second. They both had hands on the ball as he's down.
If he's on the ground with the ball, it's a catch at that point.
But that's the thing though. That his knee was on the ground. They're saying that when he rolled over, the ball came out, and that's what rules it not a catch. His knee, when the knee hit the ground, he had the ball in his possession. That's my thing. I don't even care what the actual rule is. I'm just more annoyed the fact the NFL referees aren't held accountable. At the end of the day, the Bills lost that game because they turned the ball over 4 times, not because of that play.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is like I don't like the whole refs thing.
But at the end of the day, the referees and this is what happens. And I'm a perfectionist in football.
Yeah,
I'm a perfectionist in all sports. That's why I hate the NBA. I think the NBA is dog shit because it's not perfectionism. But at the end of the day, you need to hold the guys who decide the game accountable more than you hold the players. Now, in the NFL, you have a little bit of breathing room because, let's be honest, you don't hold the players accountable that much either, outside of doing stupid shit on the field. They can do whatever the fuck they want off the field, but on the field, they don't really hold them accountable.
Ryan, I have the perfect question, and this will really decide it. You say you don't like refs like that, but I want you to take your bias out of this. If it was Notre Dame, and that happened, it was Ohio State, Notre Dame in the Natty, and that play happened and Ohio State got a pick, what would you be thinking?
I still go with what the ruling is. If they've always said you have to survive the ground. If that happened to the Broncos, I would be pissed at, say that's Marvin Mims. I'd be pissed at Marvin Mims for allowing somebody to grab the ball and snatch it out of his hands all in one motion. Because that's what it was. It was all in one motion.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sorry, Fravel. You still bring up the Texas A&M game every single chance you get.
Because that was a hold. Like that's not something you could really debate. That's a blatant holding.
You debate because it's not called. Like that's the thing.
You can debate this though.
I think based off of,
I don't believe your reaction would have been, oh, Why did the referee make that call?
I
Okay,
think
here,
you would have
perfect.
lost your mind. And I
Here's
would have
here's another situation. The leverage play at the end of the Colts game. You
I think
freaked
that's
out. You
stupid
still say it's bullshit.
because they don't ever really call it.
But that's the thing. But in past situations, they've called it the other way. They don't ever really call it. It almost happens every other kickoff or every other field goal.
But I
But
think
they
that
don't.
my
But that's the thing. That's what I'm
yeah.
saying, though. You're making, and like, yeah, we all do. We all have inherent bias towards what we like. But you were making that decision based off what happened to your team. If that happened to any other team, you wouldn't care, or
I
you
think
wouldn't
it's
care
one of
enough the
those
way that you were
plays.
arguing it.
I think it's one of those plays, right? Like we all remember the Des Bryant non-catch in the Cowboys playoff game, which changed the outcome of that game, right? That whole rule is kind of why we're at where we're at with this play, because they said that you have to maintain full control of the ball through the process of the catch. What they deemed was that Cooks wasn't a runner because he didn't have the ball long enough and didn't make a football
But what?
play
But so wait.
to
But so this is the problem with the whole football
that
move
would
thing.
make it a fumble
yeah.
then.
Yeah, that would
The
also make
ball.
a fumble, not an interception. But this is the problem with the whole
Yeah.
football move thing. When a player is laying down and he catches the ball, he doesn't make a football move, but he's ruled down the moment he gets touched. Cooks was on the ground fully when he had the ball, so he should have been ruled down. Is my main point. If let's say this, Jalen McMillan does not do anything to that ball and that ball pops out, they still rule that a catch. But just
I would
because
say that
Jalen McMillan was able to flip him over and wrestle the ball out, that's why it was ruled an interception.
I just think it's one of those things, right? I like it because I feel like you should be able, if you both have hands on the ball and you're falling to the ground and you guys are wrestling for the ball, whoever comes up with it, like, I don't know. I think it was such a bang bang play. I get the argument for it. I'm just saying, based off of the letter of the law and what the refs stated after the game of why they made the decision, it makes sense to me. Because they said if Jaquan McMillan would have dropped the ball, it would have been an incomplete pass. But because it was all in one motion, they didn't consider him down because it was all in one motion. They said the Cooks didn't have full control of the ball heading to the ground. That's their ruling. Like, and my whole thing about it, right? I think the process was dumb. I think if you're going to call it an interception, you should at least take the time to review it. I know they did, but I'm saying show the process of the review.
It should have been like we should have went to commercial break. Yes.
Yes, that's what I mean. Like I was watching it at the bar and I'm sitting there like there's Bills fans next to me and we're all like, they're going to review this. They kept showing the replay over and over. We're like, they're going to review this. And then we just see the Broncos line up ready for play. And you see Sean McDermott run over and call timeout. Like, what? They're like, oh, we already reviewed it. That was a really quick review.
Well, and that's
Really
my whole
quick
thing. I
review.
feel like if they were to review it more, then they would have. I think that, and that's where it comes back to they always protect the referee. If they review that more, then all they're doing is setting up the referee to get his ass chewed out on the internet. Because what they're going to do is that also they probably go back and say, "Oh, this looks a lot similar because it was the same callers as the Bills Patriots game a few weeks ago." And I do think it was funny that they called it out during the Bears Rams game, like because those were the exact same plays, and they were called
And they
different.
called it a catch, and that impacted the Rams winning.
Yeah, and the Rams like I
didn't
love
see
Matthew
that play. I'll have
Stafford,
to see
but the
it.
Bears should have won that game because of that play.
Well, the Bears should have won that game because I think they were the better team, regardless. But
I don't know if they were the better team. I think they were better for the situation. I
I
still
think
think
they
the
were
Rams are the
better.
best team in the NFL. I just
I
think
think
you're
they were
having
better just that night. Like that night,
you have
I
a
thought they
40
were the better team.
you have a 40-year-old playing in the snow on a receiving heavy team, like, and the Bears have a top 5 defense. Like, yeah, that night was a night for the Bears to win.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyways, getting back on track to Notre Dame stuff. And call it a pick. Yeah. Yeah. See, I didn't see the play. I'll have to see the play of the Bears Rams because I didn't see that. But I get what you're saying. If they called the Jaquan McMillan a pick, the Bears one should have been a pick. If it's the same exact thing, yeah. Because I think the letter, like if you're just saying what the letter of the rule is, then why isn't it the same for everybody else? I just think that
I mean, it's
literally
a 5 to 10 second video. Look on Twitter. Just look
because
Devontae
like
Adams.
my only thing, and this is my last thing on the Bills Broncos game, is I just thought that Bills fans complaining about that when they had gotten away with holding all game long, including one that would have just ended the game right there on a safety. If they really wanted, like I've seen Bills fans like they just wanted the Broncos to win. If they wanted the Broncos to win, they would have threw the flag on the holding call, and we would have won on a walk-off safety. I believe the first time that would have ever happened. So
I don't. My thing is with it is I just don't agree with that. Just because you shouldn't let a game be decided based off a flag, especially a flag where it's something like that where you have holding happen almost every single play. Like by
I
textbook
think if it's
definition of holding.
egregious, if
I
it's
don't even think that was
egregious,
egregious enough to call it. Like I've seen badder shit not get called in the playoffs.
yeah, I get
Like
it.
in the Packers game, like some of those holds, like you could have called that from the moon.
But either way, this is like that Jaquan McMillan Cooks play is going to go down. It's going to be like the Calvin Johnson play, the Des Bryant play. Like it's going to go down as one of those
It depends on if the
weird,
Broncos win this
controversial.
weekend.
Even like what was it, the Saints Rams game a few years ago when there was no PI called and it was clearly PI. Like, yeah, it's going to go down as one of those. But yeah, all right, let's get to
We got a defensive lineman commitment.
We did. Teon Gray from Oregon committed to Notre Dame. Was I believe Friday as I was heading out. Or no, Thursday. Last year for the Ducks, he racked up 18 tackles and 2 tackles for loss as a redshirt freshman. He'll have 3 years of eligibility remaining. He was the 17th overall player and the number 3 defensive lineman in the transfer portal. Thoughts on this pickup? He's a pure nose tackle. I believe he's most likely going to start at nose tackle for us this year. Thoughts on this pickup, Sean?
I think it's huge. You think he starts? I don't think he starts.
I do.
I mean, I think the starters are probably going to be. We got to talk about Anye coming back. That's
Anye. Yep.
Anye and probably like a Elijah Hughes. I can see.
I'm not gonna lie. Can we talk about Anye first? Because I do have to leave here in a minute.
Yeah. I can pull that up. What were your thoughts on getting Anye back, Ben?
I think this is
obviously massive.
Yeah, this is one of the bigger pickups that we're not going to talk about as much. Come next year, because this is going to happen. A lot of the players who applied for stuff are going to get their stuff back. They're going to get their extra year. So it's got kind of swiped under the rug compared to other guys. But we're getting a lot of depth back here. I wasn't fully bought into having Anye back. I didn't really know why we really need him back for picking up so much in the portal. But now, after more talking to people about it, it makes more sense why it was so important, because like these are guys that we need to get. So yeah, like this is championship depth now.
He played what? Yeah. I think he was top 8 or 7 in total snaps on our entire defense last year.
Yeah, and you filled, like you talked about it before we went to our FanDuel break. Defensive line was a massive concern heading into the offseason, right? With Donovan Heinisch medically retiring, you losing Rubio, you lost Mukum, and then Mukum came back. You lost a lot of depth. You lost Jared Dawson to the NFL, or not the NFL, but eligibility. And you were probably going to lose Anye. Now you get Anye and Mukum back, and you arguably upgrade. I think Teon Gray and Francis Brew, I think those 2 guys are upgrades to what you had last year. I think Brew is a better version of Heinisch, right? He's 6'1", a little undersized, but he's just more raw talented. Same thing with Teon Gray. I think Teon Gray, he's that 6'6", 300-plus pounder that Notre Dame just has not had in a very long time. That is a starting caliber guy. He was a rotational guy for Oregon. He started more down the stretch in the playoff. So you got a guy with a playoff experience that's got 3 years of eligibility. This defensive line room now is one of the best and most deep in the country. And I think from a weakness now goes to a strength.
Inexperienced a little bit, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna
think.
I'm gonna hop
Yeah.
off. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, Ben. But yeah, I think part of the reason Notre Dame did this is for Miami. They needed it, but also I think they saw what they needed to fix the Miami game last year. I don't think Miami's going to be punishing us around this year on the defensive line like they did last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is. I'm shocked it got approved. I thought it was like a 85% chance it'd get denied. Like, especially after seeing Chambliss's denied and after seeing Diego Pavia's get denied and like all that. I was like, yeah, they're just gonna deny him, and I'm shocked, but I love it. I think he's gonna start. I don't think, to be honest, I think this is a sleeper. Not saying I'm predicting it, but I do think this is a sleeper to be a captain for Notre Dame next season.
You think Gagne starts?
I do think he starts. I think it's a sleeper to be a captain in terms of leadership, everything he battled to and being here for this team. I can see him as a captain. But I think that he's going to start. Yeah, I think the guys that you mentioned will start next year. And they'll rotate a lot this year. But the starter will be Anye and whoever it'll be.
My whole thing is right with Gray, right? And I guess we can that kind of transitions back to Gray. I don't think you leave Oregon, and Oregon wanted him back. Like that's not somebody that Oregon was just like, yeah, we're cool with letting him go. Like they wanted him. He was going to start for them this year. I don't think you leave a place that you're going to start at for a place that you're going to just be a rotation guy at. That's my thought behind it. I don't think you bring him in with the intention of being a rotation guy. Plus, he plays pure nose, right? You can have him and Anye on the field at the same time, while also rotating Brew, right? Brew and Hughes.
There's got to be somebody that's going to be unhappy.
Yeah, but I think with you brought in Gray and Brew with 3 years of eligibility, or Brew has 2, Gray has 3.
I think Hughes is going to be the unhappy one, probably.
Yeah, well, I think Hughes is on his final year, so yeah, I can see it. But again, you're bringing in a lot of depth. You can go about 5 deep now in this defensive line room. How far last year could we go? You had Heinisch, Rubio, Onyé, Dawson, Hughes.
And Rubio was hurt by week 7.
Rubio was hurt very early on in the season.
And Mukum came in a little bit. But
Mukum came in a little bit. But
I
think this 5 is better than last year's 5.
Potential-wise, yeah. And I think the schedule lines up perfect for it because they're inexperienced and we can rotate a lot and get them experience through the season.
Well, they're not even inexperienced. Gray played in 13 games this year.
How often did they play, though, in all 13 of those games?
He started in the playoff, and he started towards the end of the season for Oregon.
He did. I'm talking about all
Brew started the entire year. He started the last 2 years for Pitt. Let's see. Mukum has kind of played sparingly, but he's played. Onyé has a lot of experience. Hughes played a lot this past year. So, yeah, all of them have experience.
Yeah, I guess.
So,
I just think they're still potential guys that haven't reached their potential, I guess. I think of them as inexperienced on that way.
Now, with the landing of Gray, Notre Dame officially landed the number 1 overall recruiting class for the 2026 cycle. That's, high school plus recruiting, or high school recruiting plus transfer portal. Thoughts on Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman getting the number 1 class in the country?
Who would have thought? Yeah. I never thought I'd see it.
I never thought I'd see the day where Notre Dame has a number 1 recruiting class.
Yeah. So.
And the fact that you brought in, I think it's 7 transfers or 8.
I didn't even think top 3.
I
thought we'd get
you brought in. you look at the numbers, right? USC brought in 44 guys. Notre Dame's at like, I think 34. And you're still number one. They're recruiting at a level they've never recruited at before. And look at the portal. You brought in half of your guys are undergrads. Never thought that would happen, right? I think it speaks volumes that the university, Freeman talked about it in his press conference, that part of the reason he was able to get these guys was because he had conversations with the academic department and said, hey, there are kids that we need to find a way to get them in at Notre Dame. And it's the times have changed. We need to fix. And I think he's starting to get the Lou Holtz treatment. We all heard the story of how Lou Holtz couldn't get Tony Rice. He didn't have the grades to go to Notre Dame. And he went to the academic offices and said, hey, you want to win a national championship, you get me Tony Rice. They did it. They won a national championship. I think Freeman is starting to get that level of freedom to say, hey, times have changed. If you want me to seriously win, you want me to win a national championship here at Notre Dame, we need to get undergrads. You get Mylan Graham, you get Quincy Porter, two guys you missed on in high school recruiting. Quincy, because I don't think he really had necessarily the interest in Notre Dame at the time. Mylan wanted to be at Notre Dame, according to all the reports, but he didn't have the academics to get in. Like, and Keon Keeley even. You got a guy that you missed on in high school recruiting from Alabama to come back. And I think that's great. Like, the ability to go get guys that you missed on in high school recruiting to come back, I think that's a great sign. What impact does having this number one overall class have on the Notre Dame football program as a whole and the future of Notre Dame football?
I don't know if it really depends on how long Freeman stays. Because if he is which it won't happen, but you project the hypotheticals of depends on how long he stays, they stay. But this is showing Notre Dame is a serious threat and contender. Notre Dame continues to win. They'll continue to recruit this good, and they'll continue to recruit this good. The talent on the field will get better. The way you win games or play in games will get better. The talent gap will continue to close, and ultimately the impact would be continuing to win playoff games and eventually winning a natty.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it impacts recruiting for this year. I don't think the kids are all like, yeah, we had number one last year, let's continue it. I don't know if that's like the biggest thing for them. I don't know if they care about that, but I think it's a big for the fans. I think it's big for them and their confidence, and I think it's just big for Notre Dame in general to say, hey, we're still here. Right? We're Notre Dame. We're still in Notre Dame, you know?
Yeah.
Do you agree, or do you have a different point?
I think Freeman's going to stay for at least the next 5 years, right? That's kind of how I look at it. I think if that's the timeline, I think this is the class then. This class that's coming in as the class that gets Notre Dame a national championship in that time frame. Or, that also includes the 2027 class, right? With Teddy Gerard, Teddy Gerard's in 2026, but I think Teddy Gerard's also in that window because he's like your next guy up after CJ, right? So I think.
So you don't think this year?
No, I think this year they can win it. I'm just saying I think the window, right, for Notre Dame is that 5 years. That's what I'm expecting. Freeman could very well stay Notre Dame another 10 plus years. But I think eventually it's going to get to a point where he could maybe feel stagnant. Say we go the next 5 years and we don't win a national championship. He's done all this extra stuff that Notre Dame hasn't been able to do for a very long time, and he still can't get over that hump. I could see it becoming hey, I've done everything I can. I want to go, see what's up in the NFL. Maybe Ohio State comes calling, right? Those things. That's why I think the next 5 years are very crucial. I think this is the time for Notre Dame to do it. I think this year, Notre Dame could win the national championship.
This year, I think it started this year. So
yeah,
I didn't expect it last year, but now I kind of think it should happen.
Dude, what is your okay? Let me ask you that, and I'll bring this up while I ask you. So the way too early top 25s came out.
Yeah.
Right. Notre Dame has the second best odds to win the national championship next year, right? As of right now, behind I believe Texas. CJ Carr has the number one odds to win the Heisman preseason right now. Right? No, Arch fell. Arch Manning fell 50? It's plus 850 for Arch, plus 800 for Carr. So Arch fell down a little bit.
Which, I mean, the quarterbacks who lead in the offseason, Spencer Rattler, Caleb Klubnik, they never work out.
Yeah, now here's odd threes way too early.
When was the last time you've seen a guy lead in the offseason for Heisman and actually be a finalist?
Manziel, maybe.
Manziel was a freshman.
Then he won it that year, and then the next year he came back. He was a preseason Heisman favorite,
and he
made it to New York again. Yeah, I believe Tim Tebow did it too. But yeah, I think that's very rare. I think Jameis Winston. But regardless, On3 came out with their way too early college football top 25. Notre Dame is at 4. You look at ESPN. ESPN came out with theirs. They have Notre Dame at 3. CBS has us at 5. But the common consistency is Notre Dame is anywhere from 2 to 5.
RJ Young, like 15, but that was...
Yeah, RJ Young is stupid. But anyway, what are your thoughts on Notre Dame being what seems likely preseason top 5 team, but a lot of people think they should be a preseason top 3 team? Do you like it? I've seen people say they don't like the expectation. They don't like the pressure that it puts on this year's team. But I personally like it because I feel like Notre Dame's getting respect for the team that they have coming in next year. What are your thoughts on where Notre Dame sits? Do you like it? You think it's too high, too low? Thoughts on the other teams around Notre Dame?
I like it. I do agree. I'm like, I don't want all like CJ Carr for Heisman, all this, because I'm like, oh shit, like they're gonna get over cocky or something. But I trust Freeman to rattle them down. I also like the spotlight of showing we're good because we are good, so we deserve it. Let's talk about it because we are good and enjoy it. I can agree with the 3 teams in front of us here. Like I think it could be any order between the 4. Maybe put Oregon above Indiana, and I think you could argue with any of those 5 in any way. So I would not complain if we were 4, 1, or 3, or 2. So I'm very fine with where we're at. I'm more flabbergasted with the lower end, like Penn State being in here. My brother-in-law is a Penn State fan, so I mean, I just being honest, like Florida being ranked, they have no lagway. Virginia Tech being ranked, probably the only reason because of James Franklin. Other than that, I'm pretty fine. You notice we have 2 top 13 teams that are top 15 teams that we face next year based off these early rankings. So with it being an easy schedule, you still have some games on there. So,
yeah,
I'm excited. I'm ready. Part of me wishes the season was tomorrow, but I think it's an important off season to develop and get confident. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I'll get into Notre Dame here in a second. ESPN, you see Alabama all the way down to 17. Yeah. ESPN has Alabama all the way down at 24. Just inside the top 25, which I think is pretty cruel because, like, I get it. They lost Ty Simpson. They got their ass kicked in the playoff, but I still think Alabama is a top 15 team, right? I think you would probably agree just because of how talented Alabama is.
You flip
but outside
Penn
of that,
State in them, and I think the top 15 is the right 15. Maybe replace Michigan with a
USC.
Utah or USC probably.
Yeah.
But I think the top 10 are the top 10. I think maybe you replace. Yeah, I think that's the top 10. LSU, I think, should be 11 because I think with Leavitt they're going to be pretty damn good. These are definitely the right teams. The lower end is where it's kind of like I don't see any team in the top 10 not being ranked by the end of the year.
Like what we had half
maybe?
the teams that were ranked in the top 10 this year didn't end up ranked.
A&M maybe.
What,
I mean, what's your? I mean, Alabama. I agree with you. I think they should be top 15.
Yeah.
I don't think team that makes the playoffs the year before, if they look good again next year, should be outside the top 15.
I'll get to Notre Dame here in a second. What do you make of it? Because I've seen people say Indiana should be number one because they won the Natty. They should be number one. They went 16-0. They should be there until they get beat.
I'm fine with the argument of that. Even though I don't think they're the number one team next year, I'm kind of okay with, hey, if you won, you're one until proven otherwise. I'm okay with that.
They did that with Ohio State this year.
But I think it's different because I think they were the number one team. And actually, they didn't even start the year number one. Texas did.
Oh, yeah, Texas did. Never mind.
Yeah.
And they didn't even – they were 3 because Penn State was 2.
2, yeah.
Yeah, so –
The disrespect, right?
Yeah.
I think Ohio State was the best team. So, actually, I think Texas beats Ohio State this year.
Oh, and that game is what? At DKR this year? So
week 2, yeah.
But yeah, getting to Notre Dame, I don't know about you, but preseason I would have Notre Dame at number 1. It's going to sound biased. There's obviously some bias, but I think CJ Carr is arguably the best quarterback in college football next year. That's coming back. You can make arguments for Sayan and Arch, right? But I think CJ, in my opinion, is the best quarterback in college football heading into next season. You just gave him 2 5-star caliber weapons to throw the ball to. Yes, he's going to miss Jeremiah Love. He's going to miss Jarian Price. The defense, second year.
Did he upgrade in the wide receiver room?
I think he did. I think you got Quincy Porter, who's going to be that Malachi Fields type, but his ceiling is higher than Malachi Fields' ceiling. He's faster than Malachi Fields. He's more athletic than Malachi Fields. And you get him for 4 years. So I think that's the big difference. But I think it's again, and what you did in the portal, you fixed the biggest hole in your defense. Year 2 in Chris Ash's defensive scheme. You still got Mike Mickens coming back. You got the best corner in college football. You've got one of the best safety duos in college football. When KVA comes back, you've got one of the better linebacker rooms in the college football. Your offensive line, you're going to get Jagasaw back. Keep him away from ATVs, please. I think Notre Dame, in my opinion, should be the number 1 team. I think at the very least they should be in the top 3.
I think I'm fine with 4. I'd put them at 3. But
who would you have ahead of them?
Georgia, Texas, and I don't hate Ohio State ahead of us. I'm fine with 4. I'd put us above. If I had to pick those 3 teams, I'd probably put us above maybe Ohio State with how much they lost. But
it wasn't a lot, yeah.
Texas, I think is going to be really good this year. Georgia, I think is going to be really good this year. To be honest, I wouldn't hate it if you thought Oregon should be in front of us too. I wouldn't hate it. Dante Moore coming back, everything.
If I had a top 3, it would be Notre Dame, Texas, and Oregon. I think the order of those you could probably do in any order.
But I'd put us
So,
at 3 or 4.
yeah.
I do have a question because Dante Moore made me think. Do you think there's a chance with how deep the draft is next year for quarterbacks that Notre Dame does what Oregon did with Moore and say, here's the bag?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think Dante Moore should have came back.
No, he was the number 2 pick.
I think he should have came back because he was dog shit in the playoff.
Yeah, but you're guaranteed a top 3 pick.
What matters to you? Getting to the NFL? Like, what matters to you? Getting to the NFL and being a top 2 pick and having a short career because you didn't develop enough? Or staying an extra year, getting paid millions of dollars, and you get to develop more and be the best version of yourself to enter the draft the next season?
I mean, yes. But
like that's how I look at it.
You can develop in different ways. I mean, Mahomes sat on the bench.
Is he gonna? If he goes to the Jets, he was projected to go to the Jets. Is he gonna develop with the Jets? Is he gonna develop with the Jets?
No.
Like, that's your point right there. His career would probably be done.
Jeremiah Love this year and CJ Carr next year. Oh yeah. You'd be a Cardinals fan after that, wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay,
no.
You'd root for them though. Come on.
Yeah, I would root for them when they're not playing if they're not playing the Broncos.
A Broncos against the Cardinals with CJ Carr and Love in the Super Bowl.
Broncos. All the way. It's like I said, if Jeremiah Love goes to the Chiefs, which a lot of people are projecting, I'm sorry. I love Jeremiah Love. You're dead to me. Like, I can't. It's like Michael Mayer. When Michael Mayer got picked by the Raiders, it's like, yeah, man, you're dog shit. I can't root for you. You're terrible. I can't.
The Broncos trade up and draft Jeremiah Love out of nowhere.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Replace J.K. Dobbins with Jeremiah Love. I love that. We had some comments say Tennessee shouldn't be ranked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm okay with
the SEC. Bro, we've been talking about how the SEC has been overrated as hell. Why is LSU a top 12 team again? Why is Ole Miss in the top 12 team?
I'm fine with LSU being a top 12
Why
team.
We're just assuming that Lane Kiffin's going to have that team.
With Sam Leavitt? Yeah.
As a playoff contender?
With Sam Leavitt?
One?
Yeah. Sam Leavitt's going to be a first-round pick.
All right. That's basically Bayou Brian 2.0. He's just a little bit better. Hasn't went to a natty. That's how I look at Lane Kiffin, but it's whatever. But yeah, that's the way too early top 25. I think that is it for the topics tonight.
We talked about Freeman on the show. He's got a future in broadcasting.
He does. Yeah.
And he allegedly.
Allegedly.
That's the hardest I've seen him laugh.
Well, let me ask that before we end the show. Because he avoided the answer because he said he's turning 40. If Mario Cristobal and Marcus Freeman got into a fist fight, who's winning?
Marcus Freeman. Because we'd all be behind him and whoop that ass.
Yeah, I did too. Well, what? Marcus Freeman was a linebacker. Cristobal was what? An offensive lineman?
Yeah.
I like the linebacker.
I don't think it would be a bad fight. I don't think it'd be a bad fight. Like, I think Cristobal's a little scrappy,
Yeah.
He played at the U. He's probably used to the fights. We just Miami.
I think
have a history.
I think
I think
Freeman's got to beat athletically.
Wrecks, Miami, don't they always have like fights and stuff or disciplinary stuff in their history?
No, they have a lot of I know they made like a rap song in a hotel one time with what I think it was it Jeremy Shockey, I think, who made it. That was interesting.
Jeremy Shockey
on the 7th floor is what I think, something on the 7th floor. So that was interesting.
Do you think that it made me think about it. I forgot what I was going to say. It was something to do with that. Didn't one of the Miami players? Didn't something happen after the game or something?
Oh, Fletcher throwing a punch at, and I don't know if it's true or not, but from what I've seen, it sounds. I'm sure you know the story. Mark Fletcher's dad passed away, I believe, last year.
Yeah. Was that
and
related?
After the game, Mark Fletcher was shaking hands, congratulating Indiana players. That specific Indiana player, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but supposedly he came up to Fletcher and was talking shit and said, "I wonder who your daddy is now."
Oh, yeah, I'd throw hands too.
Yeah.
Well, do you think I mean, we don't know if he meant daddy in like either like his dad way, or some people use daddy in like hey, I'm your daddy, like
I don't think when it's a national story and a dude's dad died.
Yeah, I agree.
And you say it that way.
If I was Mark Fletcher, I'd probably throw a hand too. So I don't blame you if that happened, Mark Fletcher.
There's nothing going to come from it, right? I don't even think he got punished for it or in trouble, but people were making it seem like it was a what do you call it? Being a sore loser moment. But I think it was just, I get it.
That's when I saw it on ESPN. Scott Van Pelt was like, "Oh, this happened." So I was like, "Oh."
If a guy's dad has passed away, and you say some shit like that, I don't.
And you know about it.
And you know about it. I don't blame him for throwing a punch. I don't. So, but I did see.
Why are you even talking? Like, be with your team. You just won.
Well, why are you talking shit? Especially Fletcher wasn't even talking shit. I would understand, if, say, Fletcher was butthurt about the game and he's sitting there talking shit to Indiana. He was being having good sportsmanship. He was shaking hands with other Indiana players, congratulating them. And you just come up beside him and say some shit like that. That's why I think that it was purposely. He seeked out Fletcher to say that to him specifically. Now, the Indiana player on Twitter later said that he denied saying anything about Fletcher's dad, but what is he supposed to say? If he did say something like that, he's not going to be like, "Yeah, I said it." He's not getting, because he knows the public would say some shit to him.
It's a two-way street. Obviously, if Fletcher was like, "Oh shit," he said something, but I don't think Fletcher would make that up about his own dad. So I get it. Yeah, I'm on Fletcher's side. Do you see Jeremiah Love's post though?
Yeah, trolling Miami. Yeah,
that was yeah.
Oh. All right. Well, it's been a good show. We've been going for about an hour and a half, a little over tonight. I appreciate all 408 of you, 410 of you now, for tuning in to the show tonight. If you like the show, make sure you go over to YouTube, type in Voice of College Football Notre Dame, drop a sub, like, comment. I know most of you are on Twitter right now, aka X. Do us a favor, please go over to YouTube if you like the show and subscribe. It's free, doesn't sign you up for anything. Helps us out, keep this thing going. But anyways, this has been Notre Dame Primetime Live with your host Ryan Fervell and my co-host Sean, aka Indy Forever on X, presented by FanDuel. We will see you guys next week, the same time. As always, stay safe and go Irish.
Go Irish.